Hello, I am Joaquin Ortega. I'm an Associate Transportation Modeler at SANDAG, and I will be discussing transportation modeling and coding requirements for the RTIP. The MFAC emissions factor model is California's model to meet Clear Air Act requirements and demonstrate transportation conformity. It estimates emissions for pollutants from motor vehicle sources only. Those pollutants are estimated using results from our activity-based travel model. Those results from the activity-based travel model, which include VMT, speeds, and details of the projects that you will be entering into Project Track, are combined with assumptions about the fleet. Those modeled pollutants are then compared to the budgets in the approved state implementation plan to show conformity. RTIP coding is important because it provides key inputs for building near-term and future year networks in the SANDAG activity-based travel model. This coding will be carried forward into regional plans, corridor studies, future air quality conformity evaluations, city and county general plan updates, traffic impact studies, or any other studies that may be conducted by SANDAG, such as CMCPs currently going on. So what we're looking for the transportation model is roadway capacity increasing projects only. Active transportation and transit improvements are covered through different channels that are incorporated into our model, but not necessarily used for RTIP evaluation due to their low impact or zero impact on greenhouse gases. Those projects are still considered in the model, so any greenhouse gas reductions from those projects would be considered, but we are mostly concerned with roadway capacity increasing projects only. For those projects, we're looking for clear, accurate, and adequate information. Those may be new projects or carryover RTIP projects. And the information that we're looking for is probably already available. It is not our intention for you all to create new materials to transmit to the modeling staff for coding, and we hope that some of the diagrams or other descriptions that you have of your project would be sufficient. So our transportation model network looks something like this, and this is a graphical representation of Interstate 805 and State Route 54 in the South Bay. And as you can see, it's a relatively simplified network. It is not similar to an all streets or a navigation-based network. Our transportation model network is a little bit more simplified to allow for good runtime and good performance. So this screen capture from Project Track highlights the information that we're really looking for in the model. And that is a clear project description. We're only concerned with capacity increasing projects. And so if your project does increase capacity, you would want to make sure that the drop-down option from that menu is correctly selected. The option to upload a project diagram is very, very important. And the second most important item is the item circled at the bottom, which is the open to traffic date. And as you can see, there's options for 3 phases in case your project has multiple components. But going back to that project diagram, let's go into what we're looking for and what is very easy for us to interpret and enter into the model. So for freeway projects, we're looking for any additional mixed flow lanes, auxiliary or truck lanes, managed lanes, or toll lanes. For freeway ramp performance, it would maybe be the addition of a freeway ramp meter, maybe with an HOV bypass, an increase of the number of lanes or turn pockets on that ramp, or maybe a new direct access ramp, similar to what we see on Interstate 805 and Interstate 15 today. So here's an example of a good freeway project diagram, which clearly shows the existing and proposed configurations with the number of lanes clearly labeled. This is a good example of a diagram. For surface or arterial streets, we're looking for maybe changes in the functional classification for the roadway, the number of lanes and posted speed after the project is complete, if the project is a one-way or a two-way facility, if there is a change or modification of the median type, maybe a raised median or a center turn lane. For intersections, we're looking for any changes in the control type. So if it goes from an uncontrolled intersection to maybe a four-way stop or a signal, or a two-way stop. And then approach information. So number of turn pockets, maybe a free right turn, or in the case of maybe a median addition or other statutory prohibition, a prohibited turn at the intersection. So here's an example from the city of Carlsbad. And this is a good diagram because it has clearly labeled the project limits and locations, the proposed number of lanes and the existing number of lanes, the existing and future configuration of the intersection, the approach information to the intersection, any changes in the control type, and also a label point for the posted speed. Now, posted speed is not necessarily required, but very, very useful information. From the city of San Marcos, this is another good example. The key elements here are, again, project limits and location, the proposed number of new lanes, the posted speed, and the existing and future intersection configurations circled in the callouts. Another example from the city of Escondido. Again, those key elements, the project limits and location, the number of lanes, posted speed, and future and existing intersection configurations, along with a good section diagram in the lower right corner showing that center turn lane. Here's a freeway project in North County at State Route 78 and Barham. And the good part about this diagram is it shows kind of the pavement delineation of the proposed project, where you can clearly see the number of turn pockets, the number of through lanes, the number of travel lanes, and the future configuration of the roadway and how it interacts with State Route 78. For those of you more artistically inclined, hand drawings are also accepted. This hand drawing is sufficient because it clearly shows pavement delineation, new medians, and intersection control. Here's another good example of a hand drawing that again shows the intersection detail, proposed turn pockets, and pavement delineation. So here's an example of insufficient detail, and this is a cover sheet to a project that was submitted in the past, a very, very long time ago. But a cover sheet would not be sufficient because, as you can see, the roadway detail up there is not sufficient for us to take a look at what the configuration would be. What we would really be looking for is actually those highlighted call-out sheets for each one of those sections. And that would be sufficient. But just submitting a cover sheet for a drawing set would not be enough information that we need. Here's another example of semi-insufficient detail. What would really make this diagram clear and easy to use would be a little bit more pavement delineation rather than kind of the bold lines and colored lines. This is kind of a half and half. Obviously, with these diagrams, if it's an insufficient diagram, we will most certainly reach out to the controlling jurisdiction to make sure that we can either clarify the materials that they have submitted or get some better materials submitted. So it's not kind of a one-time, or you don't just have one chance to submit your diagrams. So we will definitely be in contact with any projects that we may need a little bit more information for the transportation model. This is another example of insufficient detail, and this is simply because it looks like the image has just been compressed and saved too many times to really offer enough detail, and it looks like the topographical features have kind of blended in with the roadway configuration features. So in this case, we would probably be asking maybe for a fresher diagram or some other different type of material. So to wrap everything up, I'd just like to highlight that the diagram requirements for our travel model may differ from Transnet program requirements. And the biggest difference is for the travel model, again, we're only concerned with capacity increasing roadway projects. For all projects submitted to Project Track, you may need to submit diagrams of those projects. That may be a Transnet requirement, but the modeling requirements are different and applicable to a smaller subset of projects within the overall TIP. The modeling staff would not be able to answer any of these RTIP program questions, but we most certainly would be able to answer and clarify any modeling questions that you may have, and my contact information is below. Thank you for listening to this presentation.